Hey guys, today I have a Hydra build for you guys, Hydrahedron, and it is a really powerful build. I'm showing you some footage here in the background where I was level 85 when I took on tier 3 Julra. Now this is tier 3 Julra, meaning it's a level 95 boss, and I took her down when I was level 85. And I can't do tier 4 Julra yet because I don't have the right gear yet, but already the fact that this build can take down tier 3 Julra when I'm 10 levels below the boss is really impressive. As you will see through the gameplay, I take the cold wave attack right to the face. The beams, I just walk right through the beams, they don't bother me at all. So it's a really tanky build, and yeah, I take her down in not too long of a time, despite the fact that I'm 10 levels below her, and my gear is really focused on surviving because I'm 10 levels lower than offensiveness. If I were the appropriate level, I would be able to take her on with much more offensive gear for this battle, the way that it actually should be. But I know you guys are just really looking for a build guide, so this video is going to be as quick as possible. I'm just going to go over the build. It's a build guide, so I'm going to go over the build, and I am going to put a link in the description below to the website for the build guide, because I know a lot of people prefer that. I will also have a longer video, much longer video, longer than an hour in fact, for those of you who have longer attention spans than a goldfish, in case you want to know more about the build, know my choices, why I made my choices with regards to the gear, why I made my choices regards to the skill selection, and just me talking about a little bit more how to play the build and all of that kind of stuff, even though I will be showing you at the end of this video as well exactly how to take down a level 100 corruption boss. I'm basically talking you through the fight and telling you what to press and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, this video will just be the guide and the build for the guide. If you're looking for more in-depth, then check down below for the hour-long video if you are interested in that. So this build really focuses heavily on spell damage and cast speed are your two most important stuff that you should stack. Doesn't matter what it is, your chest, your catalyst, your belt, your boots, your relic, doesn't matter. Just go for spell damage and cast speed. Those two are your main stats that you should get. Your secondary stats are elemental damage and ward retention. Those are your secondary stats. So you can get a helmet like this, which is not too bad, even though this one is not nearly as defensive as this one. This one is also good for the defensiveness. I'm not going to go into why I do that in the longer video. This is also just defensiveness through and through, but you can absolutely play this build like this. I don't like making builds that have any required legendaries, so this build does not have any required legendaries. In fact, it doesn't have any required items at all. None of my idols are required. None of the gear is required. Nothing is required. You can literally play this build with yellow items, as I did for the majority of the time, to be honest, and you can still do totally fine. One thing that is really cool about this build is because it uses the tri-elemental Elemental Nova, which is fire, lightning, and cold, you can do stuff like this, which is on hit with cold skills. You can do on hit with lightning skills. You can do on hit with fire skills. Anything that is cold, lightning, or fire will affect your elemental nova, which is really, really fantastic. There are some items that I do recommend, like the bone clamor bar boot, which gives you a lot of ward per second. Right now I'm getting about 95 ward per second from this item. You can also get the frostbite shackles. Right now from this I'm getting how much is it? About 160 ward retention just from these gloves. 160 ward retention, which is really fantastic, and on top of that it gives you a lot of ward and stuff like that, like ward generation. And then in addition to that, if you don't want the defensiveness from the bone clamor bar boot, you can go for the Apex of Thought. That's a pretty good offensive helmet as well. There are also some other ones that you can definitely get, like the Apex, not the Apex of Thought, the Crest of Unity is quite honestly the helmet that I would recommend if you want to go more offensiveness, even though it does give you a little bit of defensiveness. The Crest of Unity is definitely the best in slot in my opinion for this build. It's a very, very good helmet. The best in slot chest in my opinion would probably be the Unstable Core, and it gives a nice amount of damage. It doesn't really give any defensiveness, so you just have to weigh up the defensiveness versus the offensiveness. You can't go fully offensive, like you just have to use your brain and decide which of your items on your character are going to be mostly defensive and which ones are going to be mostly offensive. Like the Unstable Core is almost 100% offensive, so when you choose an item like that, you're also going to have to choose a 100% defensive item to balance it out. On top of that, I would also suggest the Box of Hydra. It gives a little bit of ward retention, but the thing you really want from this item is it generates a free Hydrahedron every 9 seconds. It also increases the range of the Hydrahedron, the cast speed of the Hydrahedron by 54%, and it gives you a stupid amount of ward gained, because you can have up to 8 Hydrahedrons cast at any one time on the field. So with those 8 different Hydrahedrons, each one will shoot about 10 projectiles, and each one will generate 18 ward per hit. So that's per Hydrahedron at least 180 ward. You will have 8 Hydrahedrons, so that is, what's 8 times 180? That's a shitload according to my calculator. So you will have a shitload of ward gained on hit with Hydrahedron, because you are just summoning Hydrahedrons all over the place, and they attack faster because of the Box of Hydra. They have a longer range because of the Box of Hydra. So Box of Hydra is going to be a really fantastic item, but like I said, this build has no required uniques whatsoever. So that's the gear pretty much. The idols, you don't need any specific idols. I just will hover over these quickly. You can just pause the video if you want to look at them. There's no required idols at all. You can just fill out your resistances with the idols. So if you need a little bit more physical, get a couple of physical idols. If you need, if you don't need anything, you can get one like this, which just gives you a little bit of ward per second and increased area. You know, just use your brain basically. So apart from that, there are the passives. Really, none of these passives matter that much. The only passives that are really important are this one, 5 points in there, 3 points in there, 5 points in there. These points here generate a lot of ward per second, a lot of ward, you can believe me. And this over here is not necessary, but it's nice. I would take this later in the game, not at the beginning of the game. Obviously you first go for this, then I would go for this and this over here in the Runemaster tab. Edict of Sion is the best passive in the entire game in my opinion. This is why you're generating 250 ward per attack. Literally each time you attack with your right click, you are generating 250 ward with my current setup, and this alone generates like 105 ward per attack. So literally each time you attack, which is obviously based on your cast speed, you are generating 105 ward. So this is very, 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 very important, and this is also really good. It's a really powerful passive. On top of that, this one, and this one, just put 1 point in them. They give you 18 spell damage in total bonus, which is nice. And otherwise than that, this combo over here is really nice. It gives you a permanent 10% movement speed bonus, a permanent 16, no, not even 16, it's 5 times 16. So what is 5 times 16? That is 80. So it gives you a permanent 80 spell damage bonus percentage. So 80 bonus percentage spell damage it gives you, and that's obviously really, really powerful. And it also gives you 25% attack speed or cast speed extra. So these two here gives you a stupid amount of spell damage, 25% cast speed and 10% movement speed, which is not too bad at all. And yeah, that's pretty much all that you need to concentrate on. These skills over here are really, really nice because they give you, if you take this one skill in here, so it's one skill, one skill, one skill, and then one skill in here, then these skills also affect your party members, which is really, really nice. So together with this, you will be giving your party members 18 spell damage, and also like freeze rate multiplier, extra armor, extra endurance threshold, all of that kind of good stuff. And then also when you cast your Glyph of Dominion, after you have taken this passive over here and this passive over here, you will be giving all of your teammates who stand on top of your glyph 75% additional to all resistances, which is amazing. And also about, I've measured it, about 1,200 ward. So literally 1,200 ward to your entire team who are standing on your glyph, and 75 to all resistances. So just by taking these two here, your team will be absolutely in love with you, with the amount of ward and resistances that you can give them. And this is 1,200 ward per cast, up to around 5,000, depending on how much ward retention they have. This can take me up to 6,000 ward, and that is with my amount of ward retention. So depending on their ward retention, they might get more, they might get less. And then apart from that, when we quickly fly through these, like I said, I go into more detail in my longer video. This is just to keep you alive when you get stunned. This will activate, which is nice. I haven't cast this in probably 20 hours, so this is literally just auto cast. Literally, I never click this button. This is just auto cast. And then we change it to lightning, so that we can generate lightning fire in the glyph setup. The glyph setup over here, immutable order, allows you to always generate your glyphs in a certain order. So we will always generate lightning because it's lightning, fire because it's fire, and fire because it's fire. So you always get lightning, fire, fire, which makes Hydrahedron. This is just because I'm lazy. I do not like having a set list of skills in my head that I have to constantly run through to remember, okay, did I cast this, did I not cast this? So this is really nice for lazy people like me who don't want to have a set cast list that you have to follow. Like literally you can press any button, you won't fuck up your cast list or your rotation. You can cast anything because of this, and that's really nice, because I hate it when a build requires you to use one skill and then the next skill and then the next skill and then the final skill, because if you accidentally press something wrong, then you have to start over at the beginning. Otherwise the final skill will not do optimal damage, whereas here it will always do optimal damage. That is why I like this. So this is my setup. I'm not going to go into it, I go into it in my other video. This is my Flame Rush setup. You basically only use Flame Rush to gain some ward and to cast Runic Invocation. That's essentially all that Flame Rush actually does. It can cast a Runic Invocation without cooldown. It's not a free Runic Invocation, it costs 125% of the mana, which is 57, so it costs around 65-70 mana each time you use this, so it's definitely not free, but it is free of cooldowns, which is really important for Flame Rush. And then last but not least, Elemental Nova. You don't use this to kill a boss. The boss killer is the Hydrahedron from the Runic Invocation. You use this skill to weaken the boss a little bit, so you get a whole bunch of stuff that can create debuffs on the boss. But this clears maps very fast. You clear maps with this for the most part, even though you do still cast Hydrahedron through the Evocation and Flame Rush all over the map. But this is to clear the map a little bit. But it is by no means your main source of damage, especially against bosses. Like, it might be your main source of damage on maps, but when you face a boss, the Hydrahedron is definitely your main source of damage. And last but not least, obviously you guys probably want to see how to play this build, so we're gonna go to an empowered boss here quickly. It's obviously level 100 boss, and this is Raye, which is one of the more difficult bosses that you get at the end of the timelines. It is certainly one of those where if you don't dodge all of the mechanics very well, then you are going to die. But I'm going to show you how at level 88, even though I was level 84 when I first killed this boss, but at level 88 now, you don't need to even worry about any of the mechanics. Like, literally, I just stand there and laugh at the boss, even though I am 12 levels below the boss's level. So you run to the middle, W, E, and then you just blast the boss in their face, and W again. So every time that your thing goes down, you just W your ruin. Just press W and E, and we attack, and we press R, and we W again, and we press R, and we just continue attacking them, and W again, and E. Now they're gonna do their flying thing. We just move out of that because that is unnecessary damage. The rest of the stuff you can literally just ignore. And E, and stand closer, and W, and you can see all of these things are hitting me, and it just doesn't matter. And R, and E, and W, and R. So you cast R or E whenever you have 3 ruins, but obviously you build up your ruins very, very quickly. And otherwise than that, just basically keep on smashing the boss in their face. Like I said, this build right now is very, very defensive orientated. Like, you don't have the damage that you would have later on. In fact, my damage is probably going to quadruple by the time that you get to level 100 with all of the perfect gear and all of that kind of stuff. I don't even have anything close to the proper gear right now. And obviously, like I said, a lot of my stuff is simply defensive. Literally, my helmet, my gloves give me no damage. It's literally just defensive. So once you actually get to the point where you can have a little bit of offensive gear, then you're gonna be doing 3 or 4 times this amount of damage, and you're still gonna have a lot of defense, because you're gonna be having better gear and you're gonna be a higher level. You're gonna have more skill points. Obviously right now I'm 12 skill points below where I should be technically. So all of that stuff is just going to be fantastic once you actually get the appropriate stuff that you need. So as you can see, the boss really can't do anything to you. You can stand in all of the different explosions and whatever. It does not matter. The boss can't do anything to you. I think the lowest my ward got at any one time was 800, and that was after I actually zoned out for a while and didn't cast my W. So unless you're literally asleep in AFK, you are going to be able to do this boss without any problems. And actually my void resistance, because this boss does void, my void resistance isn't even capped, so you need to remember that. There were a couple of times where I forgot to cast my W. With my W my void is capped, but without my W my void is not capped. So I even did this boss without having my void resistance against the boss capped, which is just goes to show you how much power and health and ward this build has. And like I said, level 88 and this level 100 boss was no problem at all. Tier 3 Julra was no problem at all when I was level 85. So yeah, I just think this boss, this build is really fantastic. So yeah guys, that is pretty much it. I put a lot of effort into this build, played it for probably 50 to 60 hours. So if you guys could show your support, then that would be very much appreciated. The links are in the description below. This video was sponsored by the developers of the game. They made the video possible, so thanks a lot to them for that. It's really nice to be able to play a really good game whilst being paid for it. And also check out the game on Steam. You can also buy the game through nexus.gg/LFB gaming. That way you still get your Steam key, but the developers of the game are able to give me a small percentage of the purchase price if you buy it through nexus.gg/LFB gaming. So that not only helps the developers out because they don't need to pay a 30% share to Steam, but it also helps me out because I get a small percentage as well. So yeah guys, that is pretty much it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.